Hi guys, got some of the parts for my lawn boy, and I've started working on that a little bit. I actually had some stuff I was going to do, and my camera didn't work for whatever reason. So I'm hoping that it's working now. It looks like it is. And I'd actually went through and did the carburetor and the reed valve and put some seals in, and I didn't get it captured. So let me just kind of review with you what I have done. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Went through, put the needle and seat in, and set the float. The float sets at 15-30 seconds. So anyway, for this model it does. And I installed the new reed valve, and I've talked about that a little bit. Whereas you want this to set right up against the casting itself. If you've got any play, you're really not getting the full benefit of your reed valve. So the new set, a lot better than the old set. So the carburetor's ready. I went through and talked a little bit about the job here that I did. I put a bushing here. Let me get the old one. Here's an unmodified casting here. You can see that the crankshaft runs right here on the casting. The bushing is it's not a flanged bushing. So I put a flanged bushing in on the top, and then I bored it for the needle bearings on the bottom, and I just went ahead and put a brand new seal in. The specs were good on it. All the bearings and everything were good, top and bottom. I put the new seal in the top plate also, and that bearing also in good shape, so we're going to go back with it. I am going to, at some point, I ordered some more bearings and bushings, and I'm going to go through the machining for boring this out, setting it up, boring it out, and then replacing the bushing and the bearing. So at some point I'm going to do that. I don't know yet when, but I did order the parts to do it. Other than that, I think I've just about done everything I can do, waiting on parts. So when I get some more in, I'll do some more to this lawnmower. Thanks for joining me. Hi guys. Today we're going to get back on the lawn boy a little bit here. I've gotten most of the preliminary inspections done, and I'm just going to go over a few of them just so you can kind of see what I've looked at, and I think I've pretty well covered it. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Okay. I've gone through, I did something here on this crankshaft just so people can kind of see the how the bearing that I put into the bottom of this intermingles with the crankshaft. And what I've done here is the red area up here is where my bushing is now. Before, the lawn boy bushing went down to the black mark here. Okay, so that's really the wear area. And then I put the, I actually trimmed the bushing off so I could move the bearing a little bit further up. Actually, it's right where it needs to be because there's just a little gap here between it and this is the seal. But the whole green area is where the bearing is. So in this case, the most of the wear is between the black line and the crankshaft here, or the lug. So putting the bearing in, I've gotten onto pretty much untouched territory right here from the black line down. So this is out of the wear area completely. And this thing has been run, it's probably been 7 years since I put the bearing in, and it absolutely shows no wear here. Not so much the case up here, but this was all wear from the bushing. The bushing I put in is really just there for this flange area right here because there was so much wear into the case. The bushing area down here that goes with the crankshaft, it's 7/8. So any wear that's here already, which was considerable, I want to say it was, well, I can't even remember. Let me measure it real quick here. About 10 thousandths, a little under. So there's quite a bit here. But in this area where the bearing actually touches from the black line to here, that's really the only way to determine that is the assembled movement from the crankshaft, like I showed you when I tore it down, where you get the 5 to 6.5 thousandths or whatever it is, and it was within that. It always seemed kind of loose to me, but you know, with the bearings that I get, that's the best that we can do. Okay, so we're saving it by having it on half of this here, and I'm not showing anywhere in the 7 seasons that I've used the mower. And then you've got a little space here, and then your seal. So I just wanted to show how the relationship was with the case. And I had a little bit of the proper in play, from what I can figure out, is 12 thousandths. And I probably set this bearing or bushing in just a little bit too much. And I'm using the thinnest gasket that I can use, or that I have. So I'm not going to be able to shrink this in play. And really, you know, it's just 3 thousandths over. But what I've done is I sourced some shims, and through the use of shims, I can come in here and take up that end play here. And then my thinnest gasket should work just fine. And I'm using a 4/1000 shim, so it'll make it a little bit tighter than what it was. So anyway, that's the relationship to the crankshaft and the bearing. I've already installed the new seal in here and in the top plate, and I've got the piston ready, and all I've got to do is the bearings are already placed up in the top, and the keepers are in, pins in. I've just got to put the bearings into the bottom. And I've gone through, let me get this out of the way here a minute. I went through and checked the piston cylinder clearance with the new piston and the new cylinder. This is an NOS cylinder. Who knows how long it's been laying around, but I was able to get it off of eBay. And the information I've got, now this is a real old book. The book was from 1969. It's showing that the piston to cylinder clearance should be between 5 and 6.5 thousandths. To me, that seems a little excessive. What I did was, when I honed this to bring it to spec, I actually honed it to 0.0042. And I'm thinking with the newer oils that we have these days, again, I'm using Yamalube. I just think that a little tighter would be better and would give us a little bit more life. It always seemed like, it seems to me like 5 to 6 thousandths is a lot of clearance. But you're talking old technology here, so the oil wasn't so good. And but you look at the motorcycle clearances of 2 thousandths. I just can't help but believe that a little bit tighter will be okay, especially with the oils that we use today. So that's where I'm at on that. I'm at 0.0042. My crank pin right here, this spec'd out like brand new. It calls for 0.7425 to 0.7430, and this one measures out at the top end there, 0.7430. So there's absolutely no wear there, and you can't feel it, and it's not out around. I checked it in 3 different places around the journal, and everything is good there. The mains, they should spec out at 0.873 to 0.8742, and on the bearings, I'm running right at 0.8740 where the bearings contact. So that's telling me 2 thousandths. That's top and bottom. Absolutely no wear here on the top at all. All the wear was here where the bushing was. The crank end play, we talked about that earlier. We're going to set that up at 12 or 11. I think I'm going to end up at 11. And the crank clearance, let's see. Oh, the in and out, that should be 3 to 6. 3 to 6/8 actually, so almost 7. And we were already there. And the piston ring gap, they call for 15 to 25, and we can check that by just sticking our rings in there, squaring them up with the piston, and checking the gap. And I'm right at 16. So I'm on the closed, or the small end of the clearance. So that should be a really good fit. Really good. Stick the other one in there real quick. And maybe just a little bit looser on that one. Yeah, a little looser, but I can. I got 17 in there and it's tight. So 17 on one, 16 on the other. So there's kind of the dimensions that we have. I've ordered the bearings and the bushings for this case, and at some point, right now the bushings, for some reason, are back ordered. They're showing them not coming in till the end of April. So I may be able to source them somewhere else, but it's, I'm not in that big a hurry. So whenever they come in and I've got time, I've got another case, and I'm going to go through the boring, all the machine work required to install the bushing and the bearing. What I would actually like to do is to source a bushing that is, say, 3/4 ID instead of 7/8, and then bore that to fit the wear on the crankshaft, and then also install the bearing into the bottom. That's just a thought I've got. I'm still gonna look into that, but right now I've got the bearings and I've got the bushings coming for the 7/8 ID. So okay, let's move on to installing. I guess at this point we need to get the rings on, and these have I guess they can go on either way. These actually show a standard mark on top, right there. So that's how I'm going to put them on. And what's kind of strange about this, if you're thinking in motorcycle, the way motorcycles are built, they have pins in here to keep the rings from rotating. No pins on these, and they're just free to rotate. Here's the original one. This, both of these are Lawn Boy. They have the Lawn Boy part number on them, so they just didn't use them. The ports, I guess, aren't big enough to worry about catching on. So I'm going to put these on, and then we'll move on. Okay, got both our rings on. So this part of it's kind of good to go. I'm going to get the case set up in the stand, and I'm going to clean this off, and then we're going to start putting her together. All right, we're going to get a little assembly lube started in here. First I'm going to put some around the seal in the bottom. And down into the bearing. And the bushing, of course, even though the bushing really doesn't make any contact except here on the top. That's why I would like to eventually find a smaller bushing that I can actually make fit the worn crank. And that's kind of my thought too on trying to sleeve one of these cylinders. I bought a sleeve. Actually, these are it's one piece. I got it from LA Sleeve, and I cut it in two. It comes in a 6-inch length, and this is really just about 3 inches of what you're putting in there. So that is eventually going to be a project I'm going to tackle too, and we'll talk about that at a different time. But I've got some up there, and I'm going to go ahead and put my shim in right there, and making sure that I've got lubricant on it on both sides too. That's going to make up for my boo-boo, I think, when I inset that that bushing. Okay, back to Some more lubricant. Just so it doesn't start dry. There we go. Now up here on the top, I'm first just going to put this together with one of the thinnest gaskets that I have, and I'm going to check that in play. So you'll make sure you get your holes lined up for your fuel to come through. Everything's clean. I am going to go ahead and oil up my bearing. And let me get just a little bit here too. Let me get a little on that seal. All right. There we go. It just kind of wants to roll a seal a little bit there. And we can't have that. There, that looks better. Yep, I'm going to pull this out because I can't see why we're having a problem here. There, that should be it. Oops. I think we're going to be a little tight. Okay, I've got this, it was a little tight, and I was lucky that when I ordered the shims that I got a variety. I got 3, 4, and 5 thousandths, and I went down to the 3. That's where I'm at. And let's see, I don't know if you can see that or not. Should be able to see it now. If I push in on the crankshaft, and then I'm looking right at 12. I think what the deal is the crankshaft has a radius around it, so it's actually kind of springing around where the bushing is. So there's a little spring action there until it gets worn in. I think but then it'll be okay. So I'm getting 12, sometimes 13. So it should be good. So I'm going to call that one a success. Just want to double check the seals here. Make sure they're not. This one was wanting to push the lip up because I think because the crankshaft is so square on the end there, but we're good. I'm going to give this cylinder a final wipe out with automatic transmission fluid. So everybody knows, see, that has got a detergent in it. So we're going to wipe that out until it comes out red with no black or no dirt. Just goes to show that even though you run it through the solvent tank, you can still have dirt still left in the grooves and the honing marks. Okay, looks good. Just remember, automatic transmission fluid's got a lot of high detergent, so that's good for cleaning. And now give her a good wipe with just a clean cloth. And what I'm going to do here, it's been a while since I've done this, but I think this is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to start the piston with the rings on it in here. And once it's in the cylinder, I'm going to load the top half of the rod with the bearings, and then slide everything as one piece in, and then fill the backside of the crankshaft and the rod. So let me get some regular oil here. Final wipe down the piston. I'm just going to put a little Yamalube, since that's what I'm going to use into the ring lands. I've already got assembly lube on the pin and the upper bearings. Just give it a good coating. And let's see if we can see the up mark top on the piston. Should go just like that. And I'm not going to make you watch me. I guess I probably don't want you to watch me. Okay, just for a little information here, be sure that you've got your rings staggered so they're not in the line with one another. I'm using a little plastic push tool here. The first one went in pretty slick. Just put gentle pressure on the piston and go around and work that ring in. And of course it pops out over here. There it is. Okay, so just get you a little plastic tool so you can work that in there. All right, let me get set up here for my needle bearings. Okay, I think I've got everything kind of situated here. First thing we need to do, of course, is get the needle bearings in. And I think when I was taking this apart, I mentioned that there was, I believe I said 31. There's actually 33 of those needle bearings, and there's 27 in the top. So just in case you're looking for a number. First thing we're going to do, I made sure that this insert was down all the way. And I'm going to use some real sticky grease here, and we're going to load this up the best we can. It's kind of real tedious work. Thing is, you just don't want to lose them. Keep them squared up. Going to kind of layer in a little bit more grease on top of it, just so it doesn't fall out. There's a lot of things going on here when you're trying to line all this up. Clean up some of the excess here that really shouldn't be there. So you can see that it's kind of a critical little step here. You got to try to get as many as you can. I think maybe I can get one more. Because you're not going to see those when you're putting this, when you're sliding this onto the crankshaft. You're just not going to be able to see it all. Alright, I'm going to try to get you situated over there where you can kind of see this thing going together. So I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. Doing some double checking here. Make sure that we've got the piston in the right way. And here we go. We're going to just, I've got the gasket on back here. And I'm going to slowly put a couple of bolts, and if I can, at least one. Okay, got a couple bolts started in here on the cylinder, and the rod is on its way up there. Not sure how good you can see it, but I'm going to stick a little rod here in the spark plug hole. And there we're at the top, and I see a couple of those needle bearings kind of wanting to squish out. So, look here, poke them back down. They're all where they ought to be, I believe. Okay, and I marked this cap right here with a magic marker. That's the one that is, let's see, this is on the lower cap. You see the little indentation right there? There's another one right there on the cap. So that's where this one goes. I knew I wasn't going to be able to see it very good, so I just wanted to make sure that I had it oriented properly. There it is. All 33 of them. Apologize for getting my big old hands in the way. These are really tiny bolts. And I think I'm going to put a little blue Loctite. I don't think we need red. They've got the keepers that go over them, but I just feel better if I such a lot more than needed. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I can get it with a magnet though. Everything's small. All right. There we go. That would have really been bad if it had gone down around the end of the transfer ports. I'm going to do that again. Gently pull it up. It looks like it's turning okay. Just want to verify I don't have any those little needles laying down in top of the piston or anything. Everything looks good. All right. Okay, the connecting rod torque is 55 to 60 inch-pounds. And again, this is on a 5/16 socket. I'm just going to bring it up slowly. I've got it set at 60 on the high end. Everything's still turning good. That's what we want. I'm just going to double check it. Okay, 60 inch-pounds. And now I'm going to bend over those tabs. Yeah, I can just go across from one side to the other here. I think I can do that. I pulled everything up good and tight. All right. Give you a bird's eye view here. The little rubbing noise you hear is the rings in the cylinder. So it should be all right. All right, let me get some more parts ready. Actually, I think I'm going to call that a wrap on this one, and I'll continue on with another video because this one's getting pretty long. So let's wrap it up here, and Again, if you like what's going on here, give me a thumbs up and a subscription. I would certainly appreciate it. And I was very interested to see that this Lawn Boy series is going as well as it is. There's a lot of people that seem to have some interest in it. So we'll completely finish the job, and I actually have some more Lawn Boys, but I think the real interesting thing may be the rebushing the case, and for sure if I can muddle through the re-sleeving, that'll give a lot of new hope for the old Lawn Boys, because even if you can't get new pistons, you can still size the sleeve to the old piston so you get the right clearance, as long as the piston isn't cracked or something. So anyway, let's call this one a wrap, and I'll continue on with the next video. So thanks for watching. See you next time.